The Anglican Archbishop of York, Stephen Cottrell, notes that journeying is the fashionable end of faith today. While fewer people are in the church pews on a Sunday, more and more of them are out walking the Camino or following another pilgrimage route. I quote the Archbishop, "The numbers are vast, and that tells me something about a spiritual longing, and also about the connections that are sometimes referred to as a thin place, a place where the dividing line between the spiritual and the material is thinner." Cottrell calls it a holy place, a place hallowed by the prayers of Christian people over many centuries. Spiritual writer Joyce Roop describes a walking journey through northern Spain during a season when the vineyards swelled with ripened fruit. The scene of such beauty and abundance was, in her words, magnificent to behold. Joyce spotted an elderly man stooped over the veins, carefully tending the soon-to-be harvested grapes. The vineyard keeper's concern for the grapes moved her deeply. He gently lifted each bunch of grapes and cradled them in his hand for inspection. Seeing him that conscientious about his work told Joyce how much the man cared for the produce and the quality of what he was growing. That image turned Joyce's thoughts towards today's Gospel from John, with its focus on the vine and branches. Joyce, in her insightful way, senses that the Holy One approaches us with a similar tenderness, holding us carefully, hoping that our good works will bear abundant fruit and touching our lives with affection as we ripen into fuller love. The Bible often presents Israel as a vine and God as the planter. Jesus refers to himself as the vine, God as the vine dresser, and ordinary people as the branches. Only when the vine dresser, the vine, and the branches are in harmonious relationship is fruit produced. Fruit understood as being the love that members of the Christian community must have for one another. Pointedly, the author of John's Gospel does not offer a model of Christian community based on hierarchy, but rather one that is based on radical equality. All members of the church are equal and co-responsible for one another and to one another. Church and state often forget this fundamental principle so elegantly favoured by John's Gospel. Our Parliament became a thin place this week when the Taoiseach, Simon Harris, addressed the families of the victims of the Stardust disaster, where 48 young people lost their lives in a devastating fire 43 years ago. I quote Simon Harris as he spoke on behalf of the state. "We should have been by your side. We should have worked with you. We were not, we did not, and for that we are truly sorry." Acknowledging that many parents of the 48 who died had left this life before ever seeing justice, he said, "I am deeply sorry that you were made to fight for so long, that they went to their graves never knowing the truth." Simon Harris also said, "We failed you when you needed us most. From the very beginning, we should have stood with you, but instead, we forced you to stand against us." In this thin place, the questions flowed. Why did the state for so long allow the lie to live that young people started the fire that killed 48 of their peers? Why did the establishment protect its ragged reputation by closing ranks against people they considered their social inferiors. One deputy in the Parliament, in his contribution, spoke of how Ireland in 1981 was different. It was a hierarchical society back then, he said. Others asked, why do the powerful always protect the powerful? The first letter of St. John, our second reading, asserts that love is not just to be words or mere talk, but something real and active. John's gospel vine message urges church and political leaders to listen attentively to ordinary citizens on their journeys. This listening must be characterized by an attitude of radical equality. The Easter message reassures us that we are cared for with attentiveness by the risen Lord, who is ever with us. May the families of the victims of the Stardust disaster be tended to with similar love. Amen.